Hey y'all, it's Stace here from Sacred Art and Story, and today I am talking faces. I spend a lot of time talking to people about how to make faces, for their little spirit dolls or their talismans or things that they're creating. And I often will start, people, whether you're in a live class with me here in my studio or online, we start with a mold. And I've actually got a video that I'll link below where I show you that. But we take that face then and we alter it in some way, start to make it yours in some way. And I think for me that does two things. It kind of puts your energy into it, in a sense. You're not just sort of copying some other face and using the same face for everything that you make. But it also really gives you a chance to stop trying to make it look a certain way. And that's often where people just kind of struggle with the whole face thing. And this came up last week in a class that I was teaching. Somebody had mentioned that they, were sort of just frustrated with the process because they wanted this face to look a particular way because they had this idea of what this doll should be about. And my kind of response to all of that was there's sort of two ways to approach doll making, really. You can have an idea of what this doll is going to be about and an idea of what it should look like and go and try to make that happen. Or you can really just sort of start making something and see what evolves. And I am more in the see what evolves camp. I really love to kind of start with faces, whether I start with a mold or I just start creating a face. And just kind of let things happen. I might notice, oh, I made this nose really big, or this nose kind of looks like a bird nose. Am I making a bird? And I might want bigger cheeks, and then something from that face starts to reflect an idea back to me. Sometimes it might be just something that I'm thinking about as I'm quietly making, and I kind of apply meaning, to the face. But sometimes I see something in the face and it kind of sparks some thinking, sparks a story, and then all kinds of things happen because that for me is where my imagination really comes in. And I live in a world where my creativity and my imagination and my sort of intuitive awareness, I guess, all blend together. So I want to show you a little something. So this is a face that I started for a class that I'm teaching. And I just kind of went wild with it. I had no idea what I was making when I started to make. I just started doing things, and then the nose kind of became pretty big. And, the face started really looking a particular way. And the more that I looked at this, I was like, oh, she's kind of like a bird lady. And, right, this is not a beautiful face, right? It is just a face. And I kind of fell in love with it. And I really think about it like this, that in my world, I'm just making a vessel for a little spirit to kind of enter. And it's a spirit that holds the story of something that relates to me in some way. And so my job here is to create the vessel, create the thing, and start to pay attention to what that story is. And the way that I do that, of course, is through my imagination. So this little thing that's not done, we're still working on it. I just really started to kind of tell this story in my imagination. This was like a bird lady go-go dancer because she's sort of got these funny little dancy feet. And I started to think about, all right, so she's a go-go dancer and she has her favorite song, which is, I don't know what it is, like bird, 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 dur, 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 right? So she's doing her little go-go dance and she does have some arms that will get put on her. And I started to think that she's just out there squawking her, whatever she wants to say. She's out there squawking, 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 and she's dancing and she doesn't care. And she, wears loud colors and like the 60s go-go colors. And I kind of listened to all of that as my mind was going, as I was making and playing. And I started to think, okay, well then how does that relate to me? And it does. Like there could be a lot more squawking going on around here. There could be a lot more loudness and sort of, silliness and just not caring and sort of all the things that I'm imagining that this little spirit reflects. right? So she has now become the keeper of all those ideas and how that relates to me. And none of that probably would have happened if I had started with an idea and just been like, I need to make this face the way I need to make this face. So I want to offer to you a little bit more playfulness and creativity and just sort of seeing what happens, in the work that you're doing and the creations that you're making. Maybe don't worry if the face is looking a particular way, because kind of I think what you're doing is you're creating a little vessel for a spirit to show up that has some kind of message for you. And you don't always get to know what those look like. So that's how I like to play. If you want to do this with me, I would love to have you join a class someday. Right now, there's the Equinox Spirit Doll workshop that's going on. It's starting very soon. But there's always a class. So take a look at my website and join me for a class to make a spirit doll. And you get to play in this way. And it's always so much fun and so meaningful. But yeah, it starts with just making a face in whatever way you want and seeing what happens from there.